Hey, this is Carrie Ockery, and you are listening to Between You and I, the Bad Grammar podcast, and we are podcast number 4. That's how huge we are, number 4. And we're hanging out today with Emmett Montgomery, and I wanted to talk to you for a long time. When I met you, where did we meet? We met at the bumper shoot.
The Failure, the variety show.
Yes, the Failure variety show, which I will go back and say when I met Jess, I've always wanted to start doing some things that are a little bit outside of just like you play in a band, you play a club. So Jess Von Strand had asked me to do like her interview series, and then she made this variety thing for Bumper Shoot and said, hey, do you want to do this too? And I was like, yes, just to get to be around different artists. And so I really liked meeting you that day, and then coming to see your show on Sunday at the Annex, The Weird and Awesome, has been great. And my brain just, I realize, needs other stimuli. And so I've been wanting to just talk to you about like what you do and how's that go. And, you know, because as an artist, I also think about what I get nervous about, and not to project, but it's sort of like I get nervous and I get in my head and I get isolated. And that's why I like to talk to other artists, like, how's it going for you? Or, you know, regardless of the art form.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. That Failure, the variety show was pretty interesting, because for the last couple of years, I've worked with Bumper Shoot as their Northwest comedy advisor, to kind of just advocate for the local community and help make sure it's diverse and get a really good lineup, because I think there's some brilliant stuff coming out. But then, you know, having other projects that also work on other stages. And when Jess and I were introduced, because she wanted to do a project about failure, because the project room had been experimenting about failure, and she wanted to do a variety show, because they hadn't looked at it, kind of the comedy of failure. And the One Reel folks introduced Jess and I, and it really made me think last year. I was like, I have, you know, when people think failure and variety show, Emmett Montgomery comes up. You know,
Why would that be?
Because, well, I mean, I think really early on in stand-up, I kind of sort of embraced sort of this attitude of failing beautifully, you know, and doing things out of your comfort zone is, I think, a really good way to I think fear is the best cure for writer's block, you know, and so sometimes that's a realm that I live in. And just that, I mean, it was really nice to kind of, you know, what you get to do is you meet people, and you know, like you or various people where you're like, okay, I've never met you before, but we immediately have a kinship. You know, I've kind of referred to stand up and performance in general as kind of a reverse AA. Because you're pushing each other further into the abyss, right? You know, and there's infinite steps of kind of that. And
well, that's what I wonder about too, because like coming from what I've done, like music, starting the whole grunge era, that kind of thing, like nobody talked to each other. Like I think what I'm craving is kinship. And I think like my past musical experience is like, you're in a band, well, my personal experience, I'm in a band, but that doesn't mean I hang out with any of the band members or that we're even buddies sometimes. Now, have relationships with people, and I definitely love, like, some of the people I've played music with, and that's an intense relationship. But a lot of the scene wasn't friendly, did not talk to each other, or were just young and nervous, and I don't know what it was. Like, you're just caught up in, like, doing a good job, and you're isolated in your band or whatever, but it wasn't like this like communion. Like especially as a female, I was like, I never had best girlfriends. I don't know, I did not talk to other female artists like, how's it going for you? Or I was just doing my thing and trying to discover myself and cope, kind of like, what the hell's going on here?
I've been doing stand-up in this town for 10 years, and so I have seen a lot of things and stuff change. I think I mean, definitely stand-up is kind of a lone wolf thing, but it is sort of, especially because a lot of the shows are comic run. People have to work together to make those stages happen. When I first started, there were 2 clubs you could go. One of the clubs hated the other club.
Oh, no.
One of the clubs didn't care what the other club thought, which made that club hate it even more. And those were your 2 places to go, and then there were some bar rooms. And so a bunch of us decided to because we loved it so much, to start running shows outside of clubs and like in rock clubs and theater places. And that shows, some of those shows became very popular. Laugh Hole, which ran for 7 years, and I was part of for 5, and I came up with the name, and my buddy Daniel Carroll decided it stood for Let's All Feed Friendship.
Nice.
Whole. Like the whole stood for whole, but LAFF. And then so you have this thing where stand-up is really, you do it by yourself, but you're part of a group, and what happens when people's individual destinies start tearing them apart. It's very interesting to have that. So I think compared to music, where you have a group already, a band, or even like improv and sketch, where you have an improv group and a sketch group, right? And you already have that little community. But when you're stand-up, you are already alone, and so your community, your band, is essentially the open mics you go to, or the club you go to, and you actually get a chance for broader community. Also, everyone is poor, so everyone is hitching rides with each other, and and also when shows are awful, you kind of band together. Like some of my favorite shows have been nights that have been horrible. The green room has been great. The audiences have been shit. So it's I've seen various, there's been various phases in the comedy community where there were like big weekly meetings, to now it's kind of Wild West, where there's groups of producers kind of doing their own thing, and various movements and scenes. For me, I mean, when I meet and make a friendship with somebody who doesn't do stand-up, I'm very excited. Until they're like, hey, so I've always wanted to try stand-up. And I'm like, no, I'm losing a human friend, You're
never going to hear that from me. If you want to be friends, we're never going to
That's what you say now,
no.
but it's...
I enjoy comedy.
It's a hell... Well, and that's... I mean, my wife likes comedy more than I do. And she gets to see it in a way that, I'm not... that I don't. I've been really trying to lose myself into, when I see a performance, not like looking at all like examining word economy or looking at the tools in there, and just really just enjoying it. But I think it's just like, you look at bartenders, they all drink Fernet, they drink drinks that most people are like, why would you do that? Like a Sazerac or and you're like, well, it's because you've been around, or various get really into that kind of deep aspects of the craft. So
well, I think it's funny with music, like I'll have friends or friend fans, or fans that become friends, or whatever, anybody on the outside, could be family too, where they don't know what goes on in the deeper side of it, and so it's like, oh, that seems really neat, and I'm like, I don't have like this love relationship with necessarily with it all a lot of the time, and so I'm having, like right now, I'm very personally trying to reconnect with music and have a relationship with it on my own terms. Because when I started, I was like 23, joined a band, and boom, things were running. Like I didn't get any time to be alone with it, and I just didn't stop and say, how's it going for you, Carrie? Like how's this working? I just was like, oh, And now I feel like I have scars from that, and this all sounds very dramatic, and it's not meant to be, but it is sort of like, a lot of that was work. A lot of that was painful.
Yeah.
A lot of that was not fun. And now I look at music often as work. As opposed to, like, my husband, when I met him, he plays bass. And I was like, oh, like, what do you do? And he was like, oh, I'm playing the bass with my brother for fun. And I was like, fun? Like,
Yeah.
what is that word you're saying? And now, like at my age, I'm a 48, so it's like I'm trying to not go back, but recapture like it only for fun. Like if I'm not, because I'm not looking to get signed and go on the road and work that career, you know, like, because I also know what that would entail, and I don't want a large part of it. Like I don't want to be on the road away from my kid. I would like adventures. This is what I learned. I want adventures. Like I would love to go to Montreal and play a festival. Great, and then come home. Or I would like to, for a short while, go on the road, maybe like a circuit of like festivals in the summer, and then I come home.
Mm-hmm.
But I figured out a long time ago, I'm not the person who can end up at 50 alone in a motel in the name of playing a bowling alley. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just to do music. Like I have other sides to me, and I don't.
I know guys that live
handle it.
out of their car. A few guys that are working 300 days of the year. And, you know, that's their lifestyle. A good friend of mine, Matt Davis, who's a really funny comic from the South, who he's stayed with us. He's stayed with us a few times when he's been in town. But he likes to go to Starbucks because, and I'm like, you know, he's like, let's go to Starbucks. I'm like, there's this great coffee shop, and he's like, every town has a great coffee shop. Well, I like to go to Starbucks because it feels like I am in the same place. Like it is his normalcy.
Oh yeah.
He's like, I can get the same thing. There's a little bit of variety, but like it is my rock.
Yeah.
And it's you know, and I've kind of, you know, and so and thinking about, you know, because I think we need home, and I think we also need community. And how I try to do shows is I found a community-based shows where everybody is involved and part of it, and that even if it's just for that 2 hours, you know, the lineup and audience is a family, right?
Yeah.
And that is a good way for me to deal with a lot of my anxieties, a very selfish way. But I also think it's a rewarding thing. I think it's something we crave.
Yeah.
For 2 hours, we're all best friends.
I think most humans crave that. I think that's a real honest need. You know, it's that, like the idea that you're maybe supposed to tough it out or, you know, whatever. I just don't think is right. I think that's erroneous.
As we are kind of changing people's attitudes towards religion and you know, various things, I do think though, like everybody likes to get in a group together and sing and share feelings and have messages of hope or messages of fear. You know, both are compelling. You know, and I think we sort of create these rituals and congregations. I think that you know, before religion we had fire and we'd all sit around the fire and with our backs against the darkness and kind of talk about the monsters behind us. You know, and I think that's. And we're still looking for that, and I think that's instinctually what I was trying to do with shows, and now I'm a little more aware of it. And I mean that when we, you know, last year in that theater, when we presented about failure while a Rube Goldberg device was being built, a giant machine. And, you know, came out, like, I think when I met you, I was wearing a hazmat suit. Because for our opening.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And, you know, just knowing this thing. But, I mean, there was a really tangible, magical moment, I think, for most of that show. You know, everybody got really invested. And then the machine didn't work. At first, there was a delay, so I had to dance. You know, that kid came up. I'm like, does anybody...
Yeah. I love that.
The kid was like, I can beatbox.
Yeah. I love that though because I love that it failed. You know what I mean? Like, and you're surviving failure and like get in there and muck around in it and it's okay.
You don't want a show about failure that's perfect.
Yeah. Well, I mean that was the thing. Like, what if it works? Like, what are we gonna do?
Right. And what are we saying? Like, oh look, that's better. It worked. We're fine. Like, no, why don't we be okay with failure?
But I mean, you were talking about, you know, I think. Peer experience, trying to find peers, trying to find friends. You know, when I got married, when I found Kate and we found each other, that there's a lot of my needs for human interaction are fulfilled with what I have with her, as opposed to some of my single friends who, there's sort of there's a quest that they are on that I am no longer on. And, seeing those interactions, but I still, though, it's weird as a guy in his late 30s trying to find people to and I don't really drink. I only drink on kind of special occasions, which is when I decide it's special. But
nice.
But I'm not really. Let's go have a beer. But so you just there's a dude you want to hang out with, or somebody, and you're like, do you want to take a walk or go get coffee?
Yeah.
And it's almost like this second cycle of awkward dating, especially as a creative.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times the way you interact with somebody is through the pretense of a creative project, which is can I come over to your house and have a conversation, but we'll record it so we won't be late wasting our time.
Oh, right.
Yeah, let alone we have just a genuine human moment. That would be a shame.
Well, in this thing too, I'm thinking the whole time we're talking, I'm like, no, I'm really talking to you, I'm in my mind, because you're right, it's such a work thing to be I want to talk to you, if this wasn't here, I would still be talking to you, you know what I mean? And
I would still be sitting somewhat awkward to the side.
You would still be there being really quiet. This would still be going on. Yeah. But I feel what's funny is you talked about the drinking or how to commune with people outside of maybe the show or things like that. I also had friends. I realized I didn't put on my wedding ring just now. That's so funny. I got to itch. Anyways, I also had my shirt inside out today, so that's where I'm at. But I remember trying to I need some friendships outside of here, or my boyfriends were always my best friends, or at least they were the person who had the most of my time. And then when we'd break up, it would be this devastating hole. But I don't think I put together that I'm oh, they're your best friends. But I remember having friends that outside the show, I'm can we just do something outside of a bar? Can you come to my house and just I'm gonna weed my lawn. You could just sit there and talk to me. I didn't know what to do with them. Or
I'd like to do this thing where I like to walk down a street and then walk down the alley. Because I like to look at the fronts and backs of buildings. And there's a lot of cool things. And especially here in Capitol Hill, which is, an older neighborhood. And there's a lot of different phases of architecture. But, how do you invite somebody to walk down alleys with you? And
I signed up for that.
Yeah.
Well, it should be under the guise of let's go do something fun. I think this would be fun. How do we lose track of that? Just simple, I watch my kid and he's thinks of an idea and that's what I want to do. I'm going to get these stuffies, or I'm going to do, we're just playing. It's we forgot how to play.
And I think it is, I think that's why people join clubs and have church and do,
Yeah.
And we kind of create our rituals, and but we all want to play with each other and do creative fun things.
At that show when I showed up, and I think I have always felt like this. I think I'm a pretty friendly person, and so I remember joining bands and again being hey, hi, and people were snarky, and I was pretty soon I got where I just didn't say hey, hi anymore.
Yeah.
But even at that show. And maybe I was talking to you about it too. I don't have a posse. I don't ever. I'm often by myself after a show, in a van, just. So but when I walk in, I'm always secretly inside. I'm you want to talk? You want to be friends? I'm excited. I get excited about people. What do you do? And I get very curious. What do you do? Why do you do it?
Yeah,
where do you come from? Are you happy?
We need more creative support groups.
We kind of do. It just...
Well, I try to, Weird and Awesome, I try to kind of have it be that way. I feel, hopefully, you felt included. I think that was...
Oh, it was lovely. When I went, everyone seemed... It felt like a club. The audience were repeat audience members.
Yeah.
Friends. And they're like, I just came to see what other cool things my friends were doing. Everybody on stage seemed to be not afraid. I mean, nervous to present, but not afraid of the audience. And they're like, okay, I'm going to do my thing. Like, what do you think? You know, it was really friendly. And people were doing cool stuff, so you got to all commune on that. Like, hey, check this out.
Yeah.
Which I liked a lot. I thought it was great.
Yeah, kind of like a sharing party. And, I mean, there's so many people doing great things here in the city. You know, and trying to maintain and create more stages for it.
Like your friends who did the film. Remember they did the film where you came to interview him? Yeah, exactly. I thought that was hilarious. I'm like, when did they do that? How did they know each other? Like, that's pretty cool. Like, just to do, you know, a video, like an interview. Anyways, it made me want to see more of that stuff, too. Or I would imagine, like, well, on my weekend I did this. Like, well, that's cool. Maybe I should do more of that.
Yeah, and we also, I mean, we're in a really exciting time where, well, I mean, just what we're doing right now, if we wanted to do this 10 years ago, we'd have to be in the studio, right? Or the equipment, you wouldn't be able to fit it in your pocket.
Right, and the cost of just getting it on somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, on a radio station or sharing it was so high.
Or the format, and you know, do I have 2 days to download the audio, and then I have to find a guy that can code it, and then...
Now it's so easy, it's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's like a little pocket carry around. I love it, and it sounds good.
Yeah, it actually is pretty good.
Well, and on the other hand, though, there's so much stuff now that's out there, and so we are, you know, how do you... I think it's important, you know, as producers to curate. It's also as audience, you have to curate your experience too, and, you know, advocate for the stuff you like, because there's so much noise.
Part of me with this too is like, you know, we were talking about work. I still like magic. I still like to just not care, but wonder like, hey, I wonder if anybody will take notice of this. Like, I'm enjoying this. Like, that'd be fun. And that's as far as I go with it usually, because I think that's the best state of mind. But I started up too because I just started noticing conversations on Facebook, like massively personal and big things are starting to happen to people at my age, like people passing away, people getting cancer, you know, parents passing away, and that's heavy shit to start going through. And I started to kind of see conversations, and I was like, why are people not talking to each other? Like, there's been a couple times where somebody will talk about a parent passing, and my mom passed 2 years ago, and I almost, and maybe I will, almost got on Facebook, like, who wants to meet me at this, I need a group, come on, like, meet me at, you know, Zeitgeist. I don't care who you are, but I need a group, you're at, like, 2 o'clock, meet me there.
I mean, a lot of our conversations are happening there, so why not bring the personal conversations there?
Or show up personally. Like, I want to take it farther and be like, I'm asking you to physically show up and come talk to me.
I do think it's weird because people a lot of times are talking about now how self-involved people are. You know, how people get in there and, like, they're not talking to each other and they're just looking at their phones. But it's like you have a room full of people on their phones who are talking to thousands of people.
Exactly.
Right.
And, I mean, in theory, we are now in this point where we're sharing so many aspects of our lives. We're constantly creating to share with other people. I think that, I mean, why doesn't that translate into the real world? And I've been accused of being an outgoing guy, but I think I'm incredibly socially awkward. But I do kind of have the luxury of being mildly charismatic and also just not being aware of social cues. So I get in conversations with people, and I've got to kind of bulldoze my way into friendships, and you know. People talk about the Seattle Freeze, but I've never really found that. But then I've always been the guy that goes to concerts by himself and will talk to a musician if he likes it. You know, or
the Freeze is really just there for people who don't like those people. I mean, when you're a likable person, it doesn't happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've also met some really wonderful people that are extremely lonely in the city. And that's why I try to create environments like, I mean, we're awesome with Emmett Montgomery for 4.5 years. I mean, we have audience members that are now have performed on it, that that are really involved, and some lonely people, or people who were looking for something, who were able to get something out there. And this can be an easy city to get lost in, but it's also, I think everybody wants that sort of thing.
I definitely think they want that. My big thing this year is communing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always been communing, but I'm calling it out loud. And being able to, like you say, like join in with people. And I think with Seattle, and I lived for a stint in Minneapolis, they're both Scandinavian cultures, which is pretty stoic. It takes takes a little bit for people to warm up to you. Maybe it's a little more guarded, whatever. That's like family training. But like, they're not immune to kindness.
Yeah, and look
they need care.
And Viking Heaven is, where Valhalla, which is a big beer hall, where everybody hangs out and sings with each other, and then goes out,
what does that tell you?
Chops each other to pieces, and they, stick each other all back, the body parts.
Is that what they do?
Reattached, yeah. So what is it's a beer hall, and then there's a battlefield, a perpetual battle, but none of them can die because they're in Valhalla. But
they enjoy battling so much.
So then the Valkyrie come, and they will then reattach all the body parts and put magic ointment. They'll be resurrected, and they'll go and drink again, and it's in preparation for the end of the world, but it's still a pre-apocalyptic party.
Over and over again.
Over and over.
Well, you just practice dying.
Forever.
That sounds awful.
That's why we play video games, right? It's the same experience.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
drink and kill and
and that is the sport. It was hacking each other to pieces, and but you can only do that for so long until you can't do it anymore. So heaven would be.
I'm like wondering when is that? Like, when can you not do it anymore? Like,
well, you chop something off, you can't put it
when
back
you're
on.
dead.
But yeah, I mean that is interesting. But especially right now, Seattle is in a point where we have a lot of new people. We have a lot of new strangers that aren't yet friends. We have some very interesting people are talking about the old things, like Seattle's changing.
Yes,
this is going away. But like new stuff is happening. So. I'm very excited about next week, by the way, at the Triple Door.
Good.
I don't get to see a lot of music unless I am part of a music festival or on a show with music. The last couple of weeks, I've been able to see some stuff. I went down to the Victory. There's that little East Lake.
Line.
You got the Victory. You got Black Lodge. You got Lo-Fi, and then the new Funhouse has opened, and I was just there last night to see Franklin and Bash the band, which is my friend Matt Brennan. He's a very creative guy. So they are. Franklin and Bash was a TV show on TNT about two lawyers. James Spader was one of them, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean they were kind of douchey defense lawyers.
Yeah.
And so they are the band, and they're like, we're lawyers, but we're also rock and rollers. So
take that.
And they threaten to sue everybody, and I mean it's a punk band, but it was super cool. And then this band Pink Muscle, which was this multimedia dude behind a sheet, where he had filmed him performing in various costumes, and he was manipulating some instruments in the laptop, and it was super great. And it was like in the new Funhouse space, which was just such an iconic place for me growing up. Growing up when I was here, I moved here when I was 22. Mm-hmm. And Funhouse was the first place that I got punched in the stomach in Seattle, and and to come back and see that, and then also, the week before I saw at Lo-Fi, I saw Abraham Lincoln, which is a it's a Wayne's World cover band. They do all this, but it's with some very talented people doing very stupid things, and then some great bands afterwards. Audrey Horne, which was a great metal band, and
see, I'm telling you girls' names. I have a side band called Esther Kang, and I was like, that's a killer metal name. Not that the band's metal, but I was like,
well, Audrey Horne is a Twin Peaks reference.
is it?
Yes. But I mean, and I was kind of like, what's it going to be? You know, is it going to be dreamy and ethereal? But it was pretty great, just instrumental metal, and it was, but it still kind of worked. Because, I mean, that Twin Peaks is kind of a nightmare town. So, and metal can also be very beautiful, and it kind of had that. And there are various, like, new spaces pop up when the old ones go. And, you know, and there was that extremely weird show we did together. And was it November? It was early December.
What was it?
In the lobby of that new condo building.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was like little LA to me.
Yeah.
I mean, just everybody working there, I was like fascinated with like, I don't know people like you.
I'm in the lobby.
Where are you from?
In my footy pajamas.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they loved you and Sam so much. And I think I was an interesting contrast. But
they seem like the kind of people who are very concerned about how they look, and they are going to be real nervous about that being disturbed. Like, they don't, you know what I mean? And I'm always like, I don't invest time in that. So I'm sort of like, well, oh, but you do. You're one of those people.
I gave them a little bit of a, you know, I think one or two people had fun. And then I went...
Oh, I think they did.
Directly to an art space in Central District.
That's right.
And did a show immediately for, you know, just a kind of in a DIY art space that two kind of younger comedians were producing, and you know they you know, it was a BYOB, and it was such a cool contrast.
No kidding.
And I made, you know, a tenth of what I made at the fancy condo gig there, but just to have those two things, just like I don't know. I mean, so new stuff happens, and I think we're also... Seattle is in a very interesting time. Opportunity for friendship abounds, you know, and I also think no one's going to create a culture for us except for us.
Well, I think Seattle gets very... and when I say quote-unquote Seattle... Old school Seattle, I think a lot of the people, and I've heard a lot of people are like, oh, this isn't our Seattle anymore. Like, I've had friends like, Carrie, our Seattle is dead. And, you know, the Seattle that once was is gone. And I'm like, well, Seattle's been here for a long time before I was. And I do think my time is, whatever time I spent, you're right, it is not here anymore. It was then. And what I get caught up in is, what I'm curious about is, like, the money and affordability. Like, that to me, I do feel like I moved here at 85 and had a 3-bedroom apartment for $300. I'm literally moving to Tacoma because I can't buy a house here.
Yeah.
And that grieves me and shocks me. But I'm kind of with you on, like, I like change. Like, when I would come back to visit from Minneapolis, I don't like micro apartments, but I don't mind restaurants shifting, and I don't mind finding a theater, and I don't mind figuring out... I mean, there was a time where... I mean, in my 20s, that's what I did too. Like, hey, we can't play the club, let's throw up a storefront. Or, I think that's still... Like, I think what you're saying is that's still alive and well.
Yeah.
Creativity abounds.
And we just have to be... And I also think people are really craving that connection and that sort of...
Do you think the money thing and, like, the pricing out is going to hurt artistic efforts here? Like, are people going to move? I mean...
I think we need more benign millionaires. We need to find a way for... I mean, there's so much great art for free, and you are totally expected to provide it for free. But we have to find a way to pay for art, and we have to find a way to... make art, you know.
Well, how do we get, and this is just a presumption, how do we get, so if a large percentage of the people who are moving in are like single, working at Amazon, whatever, do those people care about art? I mean, are they like, I like my sports bar, and I'm like, so who's the audience that's starting to fill up Seattle? Do they give a shit? Like, do they like it? Like,
you know, some of the tech crowd do come to some of my shows.
Okay.
You know, and also, but I think the comedy shows they're going to are shows at the Neptune, the shows at, you know, the Paramount, the more these $25 to $50 tickets with national acts. You know, and sometimes but, you know, there's, the big thing is how do we let those people with money know that there is locally based art that is accessible, more affordable, and their direct audience ship means that it happens.
Right.
You know, and that's one of the things that, you know, $7 I paid in ticket price where I probably could have got a comp, you know, it's like I feel like that's my tax, you know.
Right,
if I want to see cool things happen in Seattle, I should be paying for it.
Right.
But, you know, sometimes, a lot of times as an artist, you can't, I mean, if you're trying to figure out how to afford to go to your shows, how can you afford to go to other people? But, to get, you know, people just knew how important it was that they show up. Like, you know, everyone got really sad when the Egyptian closed. And they were like, you know, and they're talking about great memories from like 5 years ago. And I was thinking, well, you know, I haven't been there for 3 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I miss it, but I mean, it's my fault.
Yeah.
It's directly my fault. And then SIFF, Seattle Independent Film Festival, came in. Oh. And, you know, I've been there 4 times since the opening. Could have been more. So one movie twice. It Follows. It was super cool. But it was great to be like, oh, you know, that new space and is open and but I try to go to spaces. I mean, the only way to keep something open or to create a change is to be there, either with your sweat or your money.
Do you know what I think would be cool too, and Ryan, maybe you can speak this too, just like, because you have a really broad perspective of, let's just say, tech industry, and I'm talking anywhere from like Microsoft, Nintendo, to agencies, to and the cultures that they have, and a lot of those cultures are awful. Like, people are miserable, they're treated like shit, they're all about the dollar. It's like, it's actually a miserable existence, and they're doing that, you know what I mean? So some of those places are about the dollar, and some of those places do have an inkling of like, you need to stay ahead of the game, and that means creativity. It would be cool if some of those conglomerates were like, because they like to be wacky too, like, okay, a wacky thing we do is once a month, because we have $1 million, rent a bus, and we're all going to Emmett Montgomery's Weird and Awesome, you know, like, exactly. No, but I mean, like really point out to them and make a program around, like, you need to be infused with weirdness, you know, or creativity, or all of that. Like, that still is a valuable commodity, because I know, and I think you'd agree, like, people get wrapped up in just like their day-to-day tech grind, and some of these people are older and have families, and they're in a grind, and they're being ground on, and so they're not contributing back, and nor are they maybe interested. And then sometimes I just think, is that large part of that crowd is maybe the alternative crowd, and some of them might be like the cool kids from high school, don't give a shit about the geeks, you know what I mean? Like, they're making their big money, and they fly to Vegas to party with their bros and have their townhouses, and that's who that audience is. And is that who's taking over Seattle? Like, that's a broad statement, but
I don't know. I mean, there are some really great people here. There is definitely, but I think a lot of it is these are people in their 20s and early 30s that are moved in, right?
Yeah.
And thinking about where my priorities were, I mean, I was fortunate enough to find stand-up and always like to do creative things, but I was also kind of a hedonistic shitball, too. I think.
What do you mean?
Well, you know, just that's kind of how you are in your 20s.
Yeah.
You're into getting drunk and eating bacon, right? And
that sounds good today. I don't know what you're talking about.
Meeting pretty people and doing all that, and you don't quite realize that
It's a time of discovery.
that this is a
Yeah.
shared planet,
Yeah.
you know, and so I mean I can't necessarily fault them for that, and also I wonder, I mean, I've is how broke I was back then. I mean, what sort of monster would I have been if I had money?
Right.
You know?
Right. Well, that's a good.
It
Yeah.
would have caused a lot more trouble.
But I also, I mean, I have the chance. I met some really. I just did Sasquatch and met some really nice people there. That that's not a cheap festival to attend. There were a lot of people there.
How was that? Playing that? What was that like?
It is a music festival. I did stand up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, what's interesting about it is Adam Zaks is a huge stand-up fan, and I think curates a great lineup. But he also knows that the conditions will never be ideal for stand-up, because you can hear the music from the other stages bleeds in.
Right. Yeah.
And I mean, it's during the day. It is in a shady tent. And there's some audio issues just on stage. Apparently the audio could hear it, but I mean, so a thing about stand-up versus music is musicians, you have this barrier and you get this wall of sound to protect you, and also musicians are really into hearing themselves with the monitors. I
Not me. I'm just gonna tell you that.
I don't want to monitor at all.
Right.
In fact, we'll figure that out on Thursday.
We'll work well together.
Yeah.
We'll be like, we don't want to hear ourselves.
I don't, well, because I want to. You want that human connection, and so I didn't necessarily have it. I got a lot of great feedback afterwards. But
Oh, good.
the audience was like, "I'm so sorry that the sound wasn't better." It's like when a compliment starts with an apology. You're
Yeah.
like,
Oh, that's a really good point.
And it was, and 2 days before, I had done in Kenmore a small Italian restaurant called Mia Roma to 40 people that they all looked like if you were to cast a movie set in a small Italian restaurant. They would be the extras for it, the 30s and 40s.
How did you get booked there?
Just, there's a comic who runs...
I'm with you, yeah.
Runs a room, and it was fun. And I got to do 30 minutes, and everyone was attentive and drunk, and like in a fun way, and it was so great, and I got to slow down and really make a great connection, and I was like, I'm about to go to this awesome music festival where they're going to take care of me, and I'm going to meet all these people, but it's not going to be as good as this.
Yeah.
This moment. But going back to, I mean, I was at Sasquatch and I met these, new Seattle people that were there and had spent a lot of time and resources to be there around creativity. I think they want creativity. They want fun. It's just, how do we get these people to learn the history of Seattle and to connect to it? Realize, I mean, this is a city of orphans. Everyone is from somewhere else for the most part. This was an exodus point for people. Growing up in Utah, Seattle was one of the cool places to go, and there were a lot of reasons for it. One, a kid from the desert. Rain was always such a joyous moment, and now it turns out that may not be something we have for a while.
Yeah. That's freaky to me.
But there's something about the water and being here, but also just the culture that it creates. I think a lot of people still see Seattle as a cool place, but how do we connect to that?
Right.
And we can't push these new people away. Because, I mean, we were immigrants, not in the
That's a really good point. I haven't thought about it that way.
And then also, I mean, this can be a transformative city.
Yeah.
When I was fresh off the boat from Utah, I was definitely a different person than the Seattle I am today.
I came here when I was like 18, ran to Seattle. I didn't know one person.
Where did you run from?
Just the Tri-Cities, so more desert, just like...
It's different, though. I mean, that's a big contrast.
Yeah. And I always knew, I was like, I'm going one way or another. Like, I was always hell-bent on, like, I'm going to go to the UW. Like, everyone, I had counselors who were like, don't bother. It's too hard to get in, which is always a good impetus for me. I'm like, well, fuck you. Like, I'm doing it anyways. And didn't know anyone, didn't care though. Like, it was so exciting and beautiful. And like you said, it's such a great place to explore.
Bookstores everywhere, different types of food.
Awesome.
I mean, for me, seafood, because, like, you don't eat seafood in Utah.
Or many other places.
You really shouldn't. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But there's a lot of salt water.
Well, I mean, there's a big lake full of salt water. Which, Great Salt Lake, which used to be Lake Bonneville, which is the primordial sea that covered most of North America, the North American part of Pangea there. Yeah. Which could have been the body water that we all crawled out of.
Could be.
But, it's just brine shrimp, and that's all there is now. It's
tasty.
Largest amount of sea monkeys.
I like Seattle because it felt almost European to me. You know what I mean? Like, or I have a craving for, like, I want to go to Western Europe or Eastern Europe. Anything that's beautiful. Like, it was just such a beautiful, like, in Capitol Hill, the nooks and crannies. Even today, I was meeting Ryan. We went to Top Pot, and on my way there, like, I've lived here for 25 years. I was looking at these. I stopped and I was like looking at these little cabin houses, and I realized they had like a path that went in. So I walked down it, and I was like,
I do that stuff all the time. It's there's some really cool. There's some old cobblestone.
Have you seen the houses? They're like 6 little cottages.
Oh, yep.
And I was like, what is in here? And this guy came out on his porch, and I was like, what is this? And he was like, oh, these are. Like, I wanted to know, like, why were they built? They've obviously been here. Was it, there's, like, 6 in a row. So is it, like, connected, from 1904, some business? Like, but it was so covered in beautiful trees, like a little hideaway. It was awesome. And I was like, how long have you lived here? And he's like, I'm seriously, if I unleash myself, I'm really fascinated by people. Like, who are you? What do you do? You got long, how long have you lived here? Like, what is this place? And he was like, oh, they're all condos now, except for the front one that they rent. I've lived here 10 years, and I was just like, what, can I come in your house almost? What's it look like? What do you do for a living? Like, it was cool to discover, was my thing. Like, what a little niche.
There are stuff, and new stuff will pop up. Elliott Bay Books was such a great place in Pioneer Square, and now it's a great place on Capitol Hill. But in the old Elliott Bay Books place, there is the Cafe Nordo, which was this amazing traveling dinner theater show. Now they have a dedicated space. Fair Gallery, which was a very important cafe art gallery, that was where my first solo art show was. Which was such a great, important place. That space is no longer there, but now it is a pinball bar, which is super cool, right?
Oh, wow.
And that just... John John's, which is now, it's being refurbished, but a guy from the tech industry bought it, and who's a huge pinball fan.
Oh, wow.
And is now, it sounds like they're going to have some great machines and some needed improvement to that bar is happening. And so hopefully that will happen. I mean, things are changing, but there's a lot of pinball, I don't know, but it is, you wonder... We do need things, though.
Yeah.
We do need some sort of renter's rights. I don't know if rent control is the right thing, but there needs to be a way. If you want culture, protect it. If you want, who is going to be able to provide the services that all these new people are going to need if they can't afford to live in a place?
Like, I have friends who, and the prices blow my mind. Like, I have a friend who lives at the bottom of Queen Anne. I'm sure that apartment was $400 at one point, and then it was $900. Now it's $1,200. And he was saying, I'm going to go move in with my girlfriend over in Ballard, like on 8th and 84th, right? And so I went over to that house. It's a cute cottage, 1 bedroom, very nice, $2,700. And I'm like, what?
When I first moved here, it was after the .com crash and all that stuff, they were like, move in, manager special, free cable for a year, here's a DVD player.
Right.
And then we were able to, I lived in a house with 6 nerds, you know, in Capitol Hill, and we were able to actually negotiate our rent down.
Wow.
Because we were like, we're here, it's like, economy's not getting better, and, you know, and I can't even think of that now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's people are retaining this. I mean, this place we're here now has been great, and we had a minimal rent increase, but we are really. I'm in a concrete building that used to be a motel room. You know.
That's right. Yeah.
The bathroom is through the bedroom. It is old. You know, like it's definitely older. You know, kind of outlived its usefulness. You know, we have all these bookshelves up because we can't put anything on the wall, and it sweats, you know, and
right.
There's all these great things.
I didn't think about
but
that.
we have a really, like, this is, I'm not going to say what it costs, but it's a great deal, and the rent increases have been minimal, but we are waiting for the hammer to drop. I think everybody in Capitol Hill, and, you know, it's like when you have to get and it's rough because it's like, you know, I made a meatloaf yesterday, 2 days ago, and I brought a slice of it to my coffee guy because that's just the kind of walkable neighborhood I have, you know, and it's you know, everybody knows my dog's name, and it's one of the most walkable neighborhoods in the United States, and people take care of each other, and
which is nice because you know how you're saying. I think it's very true that it's a very transient a place. So when you can make a community out of your neighborhood, that feels good. And I do think people crave like some communion, you know, somewhere you belong. That's what I used to like about shows, is that like for the 3 hours you're in here with all the bands, like Rock Candy was that way to me. Same with the OK Hotel. We are in here together, and it's cozy, and also it's relaxed living when you can walk down the street and say hi and you're familiar, as opposed to you can relax into that, you know, you can be yourself, you can build something, not like, oh, hi.
And sometimes that fellowship will bleed outside of that one moment.
Right.
And, you know, and that's what you want. And I think you have to take initiative to, you know, lead by example if you want to get into cliches and such. But if you want to make a connection with somebody, I mean, you really have to try to do it. Of course, you still want to be respectful and kind and all that, but you know, it's. I think the current climate. I mean, there are definitely introverts and extroverts and all that, but the way we are using social media and the way we're seeking out connection, I think everybody wants to have a conversation with each other.
Yeah.
So usually, you know, the question is, how can we make that conversation valid? You know.
Well, I think if you come at it just authentic, like me talking to you, like, my reasons were very honest and true. Like, I just want to talk.
I did it.
And really simple, like.
I did an event a few weeks ago. The Pinata Bash. It was our second one. It was super fun. It was co-sponsored by Lucha Volcanica, which is
What's that?
It's a Mexican Wrestling Association league. I think they're based out of Tacoma, and they
Sweet.
It's kind of a heritage organization sort of thing. But so there was one of the guys was in a Ave Rex was one of the judges, and then they had La Vispa, the Wasp, doing the pinata, you know, working the rope. But I was one of the judges, but the winning pinata, since they had been working on it since January, and it was a very lifelike Medusa head from Clash of the Titans that eyes light up. But there were some others, and it was just, you know, there were like 10 pinatas, and it was creative and fun, and, you know, the floor of the rebar got covered in candy and tiny toys. And it was really, you know, we're all adults here, and it was kind of inspiring, and, you know, that's the Seattle that people say is dead. I don't think that will ever go away.
I hope not.
Yeah, but I mean, we just have to keep doing that, and it's also, I mean, we just, because, going back to social media and going back the way we can share art and share conversations, and I mean, we're all kind of in the same neighborhood now.
Yeah.
But how do we take this new trend of sharing and creativity that is in this imaginary universe of the internet, and how do we positively make that happen in real life?
I like the idea of for the new audience that's coming in that may want creativity, but it hasn't gone to shows or hasn't seen other art forms, finding venues where they feel comfortable, but you still control the intimacy, like house shows. Like, I was just thinking, it would be cool to do, like, to pinpoint somebody at Microsoft, right? Like, somebody needs creativity. Okay, we want to do a house show, so I think they'd connect with that and say, like, that'd be cool. But we get to dictate. We get to look at your house first, see what the room looks like. Yeah. We're going to decorate it, and we will take it down. But, like, you're inviting this show in here because you have to control your show.
Mm-hmm. People want to be a lot more interactive now, and I think people actually forget. I mean, Jerry Seinfeld was talking about how audiences are, more PC, and I mean, they've definitely changed since I started. You definitely have kind of more benign heckling, where people will forget, like, hey, you may talk to your TV set or your computer screen, but, also, where people get to review everything and click a like on everything and rate everything.
Right.
And share and kind of have ownership and editorial rights, where it's like, hey, no, I need you to sit in this chair. And there are 3 ways you can interact. You can clap, you can laugh, and you can listen.
Yeah.
And how do you make that, but still have it be, like, engaging? And I think that's the big challenge. But, I mean,
I think if you say that stuff out loud to someone, you give them the tools and maybe educate them on, like, what it will take to make this a great experience, because that's what you want too, right?
You gotta,
like, and if you're not honest in your opinion, or you just think this will be neat, that's not going to be good. We're going to start off on the wrong foot. Like, I have people who are like, come play a house show, and, they're like, come play, and my friends will be over, and come play for an hour. And I was like, let me just tell you what I know about house shows. I'm like, your friends will think that's neat for 10 minutes, but they want to eat and drink and talk to you.
Yeah.
And them having to shut up to listen to my sad songs, whether they're pretty or not, whatever, is not going to be cool. Like,
culturally, everybody wants to be quiet and respectful music. It's not like in China where it's like, hey, we can talk and make noise while the band's playing.
Yeah.
Culture's different there.
I did a house show for New Year's. I did my character, Sugar Plum Gary, who is...
I like your Santa guy. Is that
that's
Sugar
the
Plum?
Santa guy,
Yeah,
the
I like
Santanist.
So
and so I ended up... And they were all kind of, this sort of tech filmmaker crew. The party was a 80s themed party, and I was one of the few people there who'd grown up in the 80s, so it was like, look at all these beautiful people, these beautiful nerds making fun of my childhood. I mean, they worked it out. Like, there was like the little prom room, and the pugs were dressed as Ewoks, and I mean, it was cute.
Oh, wow.
But
that is cute.
It was really adorable, and Sugar Plum essentially invites questions about Christmas, but so here I am, a grown man wearing footy pajamas with Santa Claus faces for the feet, asking questions, but they all were super respectful in the room, but for 45 minutes I had this engagement thing. But the thing is, would I have done stand-up or storytelling for 45 minutes at a house show? No.
Yeah.
But I was able to have a conversation. I did a political rally a while ago, a fundraiser, and, I mean, having them for the 10 minutes, they just wanted to eat and drink and mingle and shake hands and do that, and they, so it's what's where, and I think people are really into experiences. So but you're like, hey, I need you to love me and pay attention to me for an hour and a half, and just focus on me. So Triple Door will be fun. It is interesting though, because as a stand-up, you can hear people eating because of the acoustics.
Too. Yeah.
But it's a beautiful stage, and it looks great for them.
Now
but
eat very quietly.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Don't.
Well, we'll after this too. We'll talk about like what you want to do, because I definitely want to hear like, okay, what do you want to do? Like, because I noticed, with Weird Awesome, like that's a production.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to make sure
It'll be super simple. It'll be really great.
That's all I'm doing too. So we'll it's like, hey, it's just us people. Fantastic. Shut up, stop eating. I have no problem eating.
But I think, let's see. We've been community. That's what we're doing. We're making friends.
I literally, it shows now what I prefer is like, I'm coming to have a conversation. Yeah. And the last time I played the Triple Door, it was the first Friday after I'd been at a job. And I was like, in my mind I was like going, I'm gonna stop trying to separate these worlds.
Yeah.
Because it's too weird. And so I literally was like, hey, this is, I got up and I was like, what'd you do today? I'm like, this is my first day at a job. But I was turned it into kind of like but look what I get to do at the end of my Friday. What are those fuckers doing? You know what I mean? Like, they're drinking beer somewhere. I'm getting to do this. That's awesome. Like, but it was I had to throw away the pretending and just be like, look, commune just on a really, and it was really fun. It would be really fun.
I think it will be great. I think it will be fun. And I think, and it's, as my scale changes and I get to do, back, it's always like, a lot of stages I performed on are gone. But, it was like, I want to do this club, or I want to, do this, get on stage here. And now, there's different opportunities. Would I have thought that I would be, at the Triple Door, opening for a musician, when I first had an idea for stand-up? No, but now it seems just natural and wonderful, and
that's good.
And it should be fun. So, I think we've had a great conversation.
Yeah, I think it's been good. Mm-hmm. Thanks everybody for listening, and we will both be at the Triple Door on July 9th. I think doors are at 7:30. Come on out, because it will be a worthy communion.
Weird and Awesome every first Sunday of the month, which you're going to be Sunday. Yep. That'll be fun. Okay.
Yes, I'm doing that.
Okay.
You should too.
Yeah.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.